I'm Atra El-Nashar on Capitol Hill. The U.S. House investigation into Jeffrey Epstein continuing Wednesday, with lawmakers interviewing one of Epstein's accountants and now looking to question a corrections officer on duty when Epstein died. Meanwhile, New Mexico authorities are in the process of searching a property once owned by Epstein. The scope of the House Oversight Committee investigation into Jeffrey Epstein is only getting wider.
Anytime more documents are released or more testimonies given, it seems like more cans of worms are open.
Committee Chairman James Comer announcing that following a new release of Epstein files from the Department of Justice, the committee wants to interview Tova Noel, a former officer at the Manhattan jail where Epstein was held. Noel was the last person to go near the door of the unit containing Epstein's cell before he died by suicide. Noel and another officer, Michael Thomas, later reached a deal with prosecutors, admitting to lying about doing required inmate checks during their shift.
No one's accusing her of any wrongdoing, but we have a lot of questions about Epstein.
Documents show Noel searched latest on Epstein in jail twice, 51 minutes before Epstein was found and again 41 minutes before. Within the same hour, she also searched for the latest on another high-profile inmate, now convicted fraudster Omar Amanat, and browser history shows was shopping for furniture. This FBI file says in November of that year, J.P. Morgan Chase provided a suspicious activity report regarding 12 cash deposits made by Tova Noel, which occurred between April 10, 2018 and July 30, 2019. Across the country, in New Mexico,
every time we see more and more files come out, it's more and more evident that the survivors are telling the truth.
The brother of the late Virginia Giuffre speaking from outside the Zorro Ranch, a desert property owned by Epstein for almost 3 decades, a place many of his victims say where he abused and trafficked girls. New Mexico authorities searching the property this week, coinciding with the state legislature's new Truth Commission created to investigate what happened at that ranch. Back here in Washington, the House Oversight Committee is scheduling testimonies for Attorney General Pam Bondi about the DOJ's slow and incomplete release of the Epstein files, and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, whose name appears throughout the files but is not accused of any crimes. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atra El-Nashar.
Thank you for being here. I think everyone knows that we are deposing our 7th witness thus far for the Epstein investigation. Today is a big witness. This is Kahn, the CPA. We have a lot of questions. I think everyone in America has questions about how Epstein was able to accumulate so much wealth. I think it's also known, hopefully you all have reported this, that we've been getting bank records in for a long time, and we haven't talked publicly about them because we were waiting to bring the accountant in once we got a feel on where the money we think was going and where it was coming from. To date, it appears with the records we've obtained that there are somewhere around at least 64 entities affiliated with Epstein that we've discovered, LLCs, companies, different things like that. So there were a lot of entities. There was a lot of money that was being transferred around. So we have specific financial questions we're going to be asking today, and hopefully we'll be able to report some new information. Again, I want to repeat, our objective on the Oversight Committee is to get the truth to the American people. We're doing everything we can to work with the Department of Justice to release all the documents. We have subpoenaed and successfully released all the documents with the estate. We're bringing in anyone that we feel has any information that will be helpful to our investigation, and hopefully we'll be able to get the truth to the American people and provide some type of justice for the victims. So I'll be happy to answer a couple questions.
Do you think Mr. Kahn has any criminal liability?
That what?
Do you think Mr. Kahn has any criminal liability?
I don't know. I don't know. We have a lot of questions for him, and no one's accusing anyone of wrongdoing. I always have to say that because the lawyers watch all my interviews, and any misstatement they would try to weasel out of answering questions. So right now, we have no reason to suspect anything, but we have a lot of questions.
Some of the survivors have, though, tried to sue him in civil court, and the attorney Indyke also called for deposition. Do those sort of questions come up in your deposition?
Yes.
Or are you focused on specifically, like they said that he was very knowledgeable on Epstein's these crimes. And
Right. And he said publicly he wasn't. So we're going to re-ask those questions again today. There's information that we have from some of the victims that we're going to ask. Obviously, there are a lot of financial records that we have questions about, and just an overall curiosity of where the money came from. You know, it looks like a lot of the expenditures went for tuition for college, for, you know, a lot of expenses for some of the different victims. So we want to find out as much as we can, and hopefully that will lead to more transparency and hopefully some accountability.
the files also said that he helped set some cameras up on Epstein Island, Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, we want to ask about that because, you know, we haven't been able to. There's no evidence that's emerged with video. Everyone suspects there's video, but, you know, thus far there's no video and no trace of where cameras were at any of the properties. Now, I think everyone knows they're in New Mexico now. That property has traded hands, but I don't think the grounds of the property in New Mexico have been searched before. I talked about that last night on Jesse Waters, so I'm glad New Mexico authorities are there now. I don't think that we can conclude an investigation without thoroughly searching that property, because there are a lot of suspicions and theories about what may or may not have happened on that property in New Mexico.
Chairman, do you think this deposition could lead to other investigations and depositions of people involved?
Well, it could. Every deposition we've had thus far has led to more depositions and more witnesses coming in. You know, I think, you know, you go back to what Bill Barr said and what Alex Acosta said. They were probably the first two that we brought in for interviews, and they said that, you know, they wanted to prosecute more people, but the evidence wasn't there. We're working with the victims, and, you know, a lot of the victims aren't talking. I think everyone knows this because a lot of them have already received some type of settlement. So that's going to be some of the questions, and we'll see if he can talk about that. Obviously, Indyke coming in next week, so we've got the accountant and the lawyer coming in both coming in over the next week. So we have a lot of questions that we're going to ask both of them about settlements and any other type of knowledge they knew about Epstein.
Do you have an update on the timing of Pam Bogby's deposition or when Howard Lutnick is going to come in?
Well, hopefully very soon. So I'm in communication with them. We're trying to get them in very, very soon.
Like next few weeks?
I would hope so.
You have depositions scheduled into early summer, like I believe into June. How long, like, as you said, you're continuously adding more and more depositions. So how long do you envision this taking? How long do you think it's going to last? Like, can you finish it by the end of this Congress?
Well, that's our goal, and I certainly hope so. I hope it's before the end of the Congress, but as we all see, anytime more documents are released or more testimonies given, it seems like more cans of worms are open. So we're doing our best. I think we're being very effective. And look, we're seeing accountability. There are over a dozen people that have resigned from prestigious boards because of their affiliation with Epstein. No one would have known about this prior to our investigation. I think this investigation is the first very thorough investigation that's been done on Epstein. One part of the majority of the members' criticism is that it doesn't look like the government did a very good job investigating Epstein. So we're trying to put all the pieces together and take information from the various districts. You know, you had Virgin Islands doing investigations, you had New Mexico, you had Southern District of New York, you had Florida. I don't know how well they all communicated together, but we're trying to piece it together, and we'll get you answers, and hopefully I'll be able to come back out here after the deposition and give you some more answers. So thank you all.
Some of the questions that Democrats are hoping to ask Mr. Kahn.
Mr. Kahn knows a lot about Epstein's financial dealings, and his financial dealings were very intertwined with all of his crimes and his influence peddling. And so Mr. Kahn has a lot of information for us. We'll see how much he cooperates.
His lawyer on the way in told me that he is expected to answer questions. It sounds like he's not going to take the fifth on anything. How much from the document dump have you guys been able to learn that are helping set up your question?
Kahn himself was investigated because he was so involved in Epstein's financial dealings. We know things about payments made for tuition, payments made to girls. There's a lot of payments that were made in pursuit of Epstein's crimes, and Kahn was the fixer. He was the accountant. His name was on the shell companies as the owner of the shell companies. So he helped hide a lot of Jeffrey Epstein's enterprise. And so we want to know all about it. We want to know how this happened and how we can prevent this from happening in the future.
He had a $25 million settlement with Mr. Indyke, out of court, confidential settlement.
Yep.
With Epstein victims. They allege that he knew directly about Epstein's crimes. Do you think he's criminally liable?
We're going to ask him how much he knew. We're going to ask him to what extent he was involved. We're going to ask him to what extent other people involved too. We'll see what he says.
Congressman, how much can the money of this really tell the story of what's going on?
It tells the entire story. In fact, the victims themselves, the survivors, told us to follow the money, and that the money tells the story of Epstein's crimes, not just his sex trafficking crimes, but all of the things that he was doing. And so again, Kahn was in the middle of all of that, and he has a lot of information to tell us. We'll see if he tells it to us.
Keep us updated today.
Thank you. Yes, we'll do. Thank you.
Tell us what you're thinking heading into the deposition today.
We need to understand what these individuals knew about Epstein's estate and Epstein's crimes. We need to understand who other which other men were visited the island, visited the ranch, who else had settlements and were accused. So there's going to be a lot of information that comes out, and I'm looking forward to getting the facts.
How critical is his testimony?
Very critical, because there are some of the survivors who had settlements, and he knows that. He knows some of the men who were on the island who engaged in trafficking. He knows the men who visited the ranch. He knows a lot of the illegal conduct, and that information that Kahn needs to share.
Is there something specific that you really want to find out today?
Well, I'm curious about some of the allegations against the president, the woman who made that, whether he knows anything about that woman. I'm concerned, and that survivor. I want to know who else is in the files that should be prosecuted or investigated. Really, his knowledge about other men that engaged in this heinous conduct. Thank you.